The month of September is back to school for students for the start of classes, but for gardeners it's also a good time for a thorough review, a review under a greenhouse tunnel. Come on, let's put aside our back-to-school backpack, although a backpack could also be useful for gardeners, for storing seeds and their planting equipment. So now we're going to go inside our greenhouse tunnel. Internet users, many of you reacted to the last video from July. We have passed the summer. Some have responded regarding the wintering fabrics and the forcing fabrics that are under our greenhouse tunnel. Some gardeners suggest, instead of using wintering fabrics or forcing fabrics, to whitewash the greenhouses with a white coating that brings a bit more coolness into the greenhouse tunnel. Coolness can also be achieved by planting willows at the edge, which also protect from strong winds. Many of you have responded about how to tie up the tomato plants under a greenhouse tunnel. So it's very simple. Under a greenhouse tunnel you always have a fixed point. It can be a tube, a piece of wood. You attach a string at the top and bring it down along the tomato plant. As you move along the tomato plant, starting from the top to the bottom, you will wrap it with string all the way down, and at the bottom you tie a knot and your tomato plant will stay upright. As it starts to grow, you will continue to twist your tomato plant and it will climb all the way to the top without any additional support. If you want to be at ease when watering your plants under a greenhouse tunnel, you can use a timer with an automatic watering system. Personally, I use the hose. So the question we might ask during the summer is, should we water in the morning or in the evening? I just want to revisit this watering issue. It seems very important to me. In summer, when it is very hot, and especially very hot at night during a heat wave, it is preferable to water in the evening. In September, it's better to water the plants under a greenhouse tunnel in the morning rather than in the evening. By watering in the morning before noon, the plants have time to dry, and this will prevent attacks of downy mildew. Let's stay with our fungi, and this time with powdery mildew, the white fungus that appears on the leaves, especially of cucurbits like zucchinis, melons and cucumbers. It always attacks the plants when the nights are cool compared to the day. That is, when there is a significant temperature difference between day and night. So I had advised you to use horsetail manure or a horsetail decoction to avoid powdery mildew. If that's not enough, you can always add a teaspoon of baking soda to a liter of water, preferably rainwater. And then I also advise you to remove as many diseased leaves as possible. In July, I explained to you the importance of sowing or having melliferous plants inside the greenhouse tunnel, such as anise, in order to attract bees, among others. It can also attract hoverflies, bumblebees, and a whole bunch of insects that are there to pollinate the tomato plants, peppers, zucchinis, and all the other plants you have inside your greenhouse. By the time September arrives, the nest starts to go to seed, so it won't attract the bees in the same way. On the other hand, it is interesting to have other flowering plants, such as cosmos, and know that it is always very important to leave the doors of your greenhouse tunnel open so that insects can enter but also exit. Under a greenhouse tunnel, it's quite easy to harvest melons very early, provided of course that you feed and water them well. But to have beautiful melons that aren't eaten by voles and ants, there's a fairly simple technique. Just like with the tomato plants, you need to suspend them with strings in such a way that the vole cannot gnaw on the melon when it is fully ripe. The season is almost over for hybrid melons, but know that under this same greenhouse tunnel there is a little surprise regarding the melons. So here is the surprise. These are melons that have reseeded themselves, just one melon, one single seed. Last year there were Charente melons. And in the month of June, even July, a melon has emerged covering several square meters, and inside it there are melons that will be succulent. But on the condition that you trim the ends of the stems, because it is a non-hybrid, it bears fruit on the secondary branches. Of course, the fruit that interests you the most is tomatoes, whether small, medium or large, and how to take care of them. We are in the month of September. Do not strip your tomato plants under a greenhouse tunnel, and also outside. Do not remove all the leaves. Simply remove the most diseased leaves. I even recommend leaving some suckers, as they will help nourish your tomato plants and especially prevent the tomatoes from becoming too acidic. So just a little cleaning. From time to time, if you notice that your tomato or your tomato plant is spreading a bit too much, take a pair of scissors or pruning shears, cut the top, and that will be enough. As you can see, all these fruit vegetables are very easy to grow under a greenhouse tunnel. tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, cucumbers, squashes and zucchinis. Well, we will start uncovering these fruit vegetables starting in October, a month I invite you to look forward to.